This is one of those moments in the season that defines everything, because Arsenal are back on the road this weekend with a serious point to prove, and no one inside the club has forgotten the sting of last Sunday's defeat to Manchester United. That loss still hurts, still frustrates, and still sits heavily with players and supporters, because what once looked like a commanding grip on the Premier League title has suddenly tightened. Arsenal's lead at the top has been cut to just 4 points, the margin for error has vanished, and the pressure is very real again. This trip to Elland Road is not just another away fixture on the calendar. It is a response game, a statement game, and possibly a season-defining afternoon. The Gunners know exactly what is at stake, and they know that anything less than a convincing performance will only fuel doubts. With Manchester City and Aston Villa not playing until Sunday, Arsenal have a clear opportunity. A win on Saturday afternoon against Leeds United would immediately restore a 7-point cushion at the summit and send a message to everyone watching. Drop points again, however, and the title race suddenly feels wide open, tense, and unpredictable. That is why this match carries so much weight. Mikel Arteta has quietly prepared his squad perfectly for this moment. The midweek Champions League clash against Girona was effectively a dead rubber in terms of qualification, and Arteta took full advantage of that situation. He rotated heavily, protected key players, and ensured his strongest lineup would arrive at Elland Road fresh, focused, and physically ready for what is always a hostile, intense atmosphere. There were minor concerns during the week with William Saliba and Jurrien Timber both missing the Girona game due to small niggles, but Arteta sounded optimistic in his updates, and the expectation is that both defenders will be available for Saturday. Their return would be massive, especially against a Leeds side that thrives on direct, aggressive football and loves to test defenders early. There was also positive news on the injury front elsewhere. Ricardo Calafiori and Kai Havertz both returned to action in midweek, and Havertz made an immediate impact by scoring and assisting in the 3-2 win. His confidence is clearly growing, his sharpness is improving, and his availability gives Arteta another valuable attacking option at a crucial stage of the season. As things stand, the only confirmed absentee for the Leeds game is young forward Max Daumann. In goal, David Raya is expected to return after being rested in midweek. The Spaniard has been ever present in the league and will need to be alert against a Leeds side that loves to put goalkeepers under pressure with early crosses and shots. At right back, Jurrien Timber is likely to start if fully fit, although Ben White is ready and reliable if called upon. In the heart of defence, William Saliba should partner Gabriel, a pairing Arsenal rely on heavily in physical battles. Gabriel in particular will be eager to channel his aggression into his performance after a fiery clash against Manchester United last weekend. On the left side, Ricardo Calafiori is expected to continue building rhythm after his return, offering balance both defensively and in possession. In midfield, this is a huge moment for several key players. Martin Odegaard needs to step up creatively and emotionally, especially after recent criticism of his influence. Declan Rice, who rarely produces 2 quiet games in a row, will be central with his ball carrying, intensity, and leadership. Then there is Martin Zubimendi, who will be desperate for redemption after a costly error against United. Leeds' midfield will not give him time on the ball, so his response under pressure will be telling. Out wide, Bukayo Saka will be eager to improve his output. Despite his importance to the team, his numbers have dipped this season, and this feels like the kind of fixture where he can remind everyone of his quality. On the opposite flank, Leandro Trossard has arguably been Arsenal's most productive player in the league. Even if his recent goal contributions have slowed, his intelligence in tight spaces could be decisive. Up front, the debate continues. Victor Gyökeres started in midweek, Kai Havertz is working his way back to full fitness, and Gabriel Jesus may now get the nod. Jesus' pressing, movement, and intensity could be vital in unsettling the Leeds backline early on. Leeds themselves are far from pushovers. Sitting 16th with 26 points, they are fighting for survival and have been stubborn at Elland Road. They drew 1-1 with Everton last time out and will see this as an opportunity to make a statement against the league leaders. Arsenal may have won the last meeting 5-0, but this will be a very different test. The numbers still favour the Gunners. Arsenal are unbeaten in 7 away games have just one loss in their last 16 on the road and only 2 defeats in their last 33 matches overall. They have scored in 3 straight games, but they have also conceded in 3 straight games, and that vulnerability is something Leeds will look to exploit. This is where the season begins to turn. Arsenal have not won their last 3 Premier League matches and fans can feel the tension rising. European performances have been strong, but the league is where titles are decided. Anything less than a win here could see the gap at the top shrink to just 1 point. This is the moment. A hostile ground, a fired-up opponent, and a title race tightening by the week. Arsenal need a response, not just in the result, but in authority. So Gunners, is this the game where Arsenal reassert control of the title race, or are you worried the pressure is starting to tell? Drop your thoughts below and let's talk. Away from the pitch, transfer developments continue to simmer. Reports from sources close to Bayern Munich suggest Arsenal are already involved in background discussions regarding a future move for Jamal Musiala. This is not distant admiration. Communication lines are open between Arsenal, the players' camp, and Bayern, with all parties staying informed as the situation develops. Musiala only recently signed a new contract at Bayern, keeping him at the Allianz Arena until 2030, but that deal includes a crucial detail. There is a release clause that drops with every passing transfer window. This summer, it is expected to sit around £127.5 million, down from an original figure of £150 million. In future years, it could fall to £115 million in 2027, £105 million in 2028, and potentially as low as £85 million by 2029. Inside Bayern, there is already an acceptance that Musiala may not stay forever. Because of his level, influence, and ambition, they know a serious project could tempt him, and Arsenal are now firmly part of that conversation, sitting top of the Premier League and performing strongly in the Champions League. Mikel Arteta's project is being viewed across Europe as elite, stable, and ready-made for world-class talent. Musiala is not the only superstar under discussion. Arsenal are also actively exploring a summer move for Julian Alvarez, with Atletico Madrid aware of the growing interest from North London. Sources suggest a bid in the region of £87 million could be enough to bring Atletico to the negotiating table, even though the Spanish club would prefer to keep him. Alvarez has endured a difficult spell in front of goal in Spain, but Arsenal see beyond the raw numbers. They see a World Cup winner, a relentless presser, a player who thrives in big moments, and someone who could add sharpness and flexibility to an attack that has sometimes lacked a ruthless edge. Former England striker Gary Lineker has even suggested that Alvarez is exactly the type of player who can handle pressure at the highest level, and that a move to Arsenal could be a game-changer. Atletico are reluctant sellers, but Arsenal sporting director Andrea Berta's long-standing relationship with the club keeps that door open. Another storyline that has surprised many fans is the quiet monitoring of Martin Odegaard's future. Reports suggest Arsenal could be open to offers this summer if the right proposal arrives, with Bayern Munich and Inter Milan both keeping close tabs. From Arsenal's perspective, any sale would significantly help with Premier League financial regulations, and Odegaard would likely become the most expensive outgoing in the club's history. There is no suggestion Arsenal want to lose their captain, but this is modern football. Every player has a price, and when clubs like Bayern and Inter circle, conversations inevitably happen. Whether Odegaard stays or goes could have a major impact on how Arsenal shape their midfield and attack moving forward. Despite all the noise, Arsenal remain calm. After spending heavily in the summer, the club are not expected to rush into January deals. The focus is on stability, momentum, and finishing the season strongly, starting with bouncing back immediately after the Manchester United defeat. The message from inside the club is clear. Arsenal are competing now, but they are also planning for long-term dominance. Big decisions, big ambition, and a club that is no longer thinking small. So Arsenal fans, if you could only choose one, would you go all in for Jamal Musiala, or would you prioritize Julian Alvarez to sharpen the attack? And would you ever accept selling Martin Odegaard if it meant taking the final step toward becoming Europe's best team? While that debate continues, one Arsenal move has already delivered instant proof that the club made the right call. Ethan Nwaneri has announced himself in France in spectacular fashion. Just 13 minutes into his Marseille debut, the 18-year-old found the back of the net, scoring his first League One goal and immediately justifying Arteta's faith in the lone decision. Roberto De Zerbi wasted no time throwing him into action, and Nwaneri responded with confidence, intelligence, and composure beyond his years. This loan was never about sending him away. It was about accelerating his development in a demanding environment. Arsenal believe Marseille offers intensity, responsibility, and tactical freedom, and that early goal is exactly the spark they hoped for. Inside the club, there is genuine belief that Nwaneri could return next season sharper, stronger, and ready to compete seriously for minutes. Arsenal lead the Premier League, remain strong in Europe, and are still alive on multiple fronts. The squad is deep, experienced, and battle-hardened, yet that has not stopped the club from exploring future options. PSG winger Bradley Barcola continues to be monitored as a potential long-term option on the left, while RB Leipzig forward Yane Diamand is also being tracked, though competition is fierce. Looking further ahead, Andrea Berta is shaping summer plans with names like Levante striker Carlos Ayang on the radar, a young forward with huge upside and a release clause that could attract Europe's elite. No panic, no reckless spending, just serious names, serious planning, and serious ambition. Alvarez remains one to watch, Nwaneri is already delivering, and the foundations for the summer are quietly being laid. Over to you, Gunners. Would you spend £80 million on Julian Alvarez to add that killer edge? Are you happy with a quiet January if the summer is explosive? And what did you make of Nwaneri scoring on his Marseille debut? Drop your thoughts in the comments and stay connected, because this Arsenal story is only just heating up here on Gunners Updates.